ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಶೋರೂಮ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯವಿದೆ. ಷರತ್ತುಗಳು ಅನ್ವಯಿಸುತ್ತವೆ.
ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ 24x7. ಇದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸದ ಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬ.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇಂದಿನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಡಿಯರ್ ಆಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿನರ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವ್ಯೂವರ್ಸ್, are your communication problems chronic? Do not panic. This is Namakudla Business Clinic. We present to you the experts in Business Tonic. I am CA MN Pai, host for this episode. Once again, welcome each one of you to this episode, a special episode on communication and leadership. We have two experts on the panel today. The first one, Dr. Malini Hebbar, is a former English professor from St. Agnes College and presently the principal of Swastika National Business School. She is 4 times distinguished Toastmaster, a former evaluation champion, a charter president of Winners Club Toastmasters, and is recognized as a trainer star at Toastmasters programs. She is the recipient of the awards such as Woman of Substance from Rotary District 3181, Lifetime Achievement Award from JC's, Kalaratna and teacher who has moved beyond academic awards from Mangalore Musical and Cultural Association, Service to Mankind Award by Rotary and UNESCO, Golden Mangoes Real Stories, News Karnataka, St. Agnes College, Samata, the list goes on, and she has featured and honored in several occasions for personal and professional excellence. She is the president of Roshni Nilaya Alumni Association. She has her own YouTube channel which she started to popularize the concept of taste from waste. Welcome Dr. Malini Hebbar to this special episode on communication and leadership. Thank you for sparing your time to be with us today. A second expert today is Saurabh Nahata, an entrepreneur and a family business owner with a passion for sustainable growth. He is born in Rajasthan. He holds a civil engineering degree from NITK Surathkal and an MBA in marketing from SPJ in Mumbai. Saurabh's career spans across renowned companies like Accenture and Samsung before he joined his family business. He currently serves as a partner of Canara Electric and Refrigeration Company and Air Conditioner Point, driving innovation in commercial refrigeration solution. A self-proclaimed foodie, Saurabh loves exploring new cuisines and traveling for food. He is also an avid collector of watches and cars with a dream to create a travel show and build an impressive watch collection. Saurabh is actively involved with various social organizations including BNI, past president of BNI Adi and regional trainer. Toastmaster International, was a past president of Proact Toastmaster Mangalore, Rotary Club of Mangalore City. He has won international speech contests at the division levels and hosted numerous events. He is married to Rashmi Nahata, who is a practicing chartered accountant and blessed with son Diyan and daughter Peher. Welcome Saurabh for this show and thank you for sparing your time today to be with us.
Thank you.
Let's start with Malini Hebbar, the first question. Yeah, madam. How important communication skills are for leaders in this present environment?
Okay, before I start answering you, let me thank Namakudla and you and of course CA SS Nayak for this opportunity. It's a great pleasure to address our viewers.
Thank you.
Now, how important it is, if you were to give me a scale of 1 to 10, I would place communication skills at 10. Because I feel a leader becomes a leader.
Correct.
A leader is not born
Correct.
a leader.
Correct.
A leader becomes a leader.
Yeah.
And it is through communication skills that a leader paves his path
Correct.
for success. So I would say it's of utmost importance.
Yes. Saurabh,
Yeah.
some inputs from your side?
Yeah, thank you so much CMN Pai for the invite and thank you and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you here today. Well, on the topic of how important is communication, I mean, a leader becomes a leader, because he's able to communicate his vision and he's able to communicate what he holds for, with his team, or be it any position, if it's like a country or if it's something that a person is leading, right? So it is very important for him to be able to communicate his vision.
Correct.
What is the vision that he has, and at the same time the communication skills are very important to bind your team together.
Correct.
Because when you are a leader,
Absolutely.
you need to make sure that your entire team understands what the vision is and works towards that vision, because you have to encourage them, you have to motivate them towards your common goal.
Correct.
Right? So that is very important for a leader, to have that kind of communication skills, so that he can put across his points effectively and at the same time also inspire and motivate his team.
Correct,
as
correct.
well.
So that he can take the team together in
Exactly.
achieving whatever he wishes to achieve.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Madam Malini Hebbar, in decision making, most of the times, maybe in business or our own personal lives, we are under a pressure kind of, all the time. How does communication kind of gives you a solution, or it helps you to come out of the good decision for a particular issue or for a problem at any time?
Okay, see, when it comes to communication skills, although we give the least importance to the verbal ability
Correct,
of it,
correct.
we give the most importance to the non-verbals.
Non-verbal, correct.
93% we say non-verbal and only 7% verbal.
How?
Yeah.
But when it comes to that verbal ability, the impact factor might be just 7%. But that verbal ability also teaches us the skill of negotiation.
Correct.
Now, in decision making, what is important? It's important that you look at the point of view of another person.
Correct.
And you understand the perspective of
Correct.
another person.
Correct.
And you have that emotional quotient within you
Correct.
to understand another person.
Correct.
Now, here comes your skill of communication, where you are able to understand the perspective of another and also negotiate with that person, so that you create a win-win situation.
Correct.
That is why I would again say that whether it is decision making or any other conclusion that you need to arrive at, you need to be a good, effective communicator.
Correct, correct. Saurabh, she brought out something like, verbal, non-verbal. Maybe
Yeah.
you can give your views on how
Yeah.
important verbal communication, how important non-verbal communication, and how do you, gauge which is more important?
Right, right. So see, generally when we look at communication, all of us have, when we listen to certain speakers or someone who's speaking, they will have a kind of a verbal content that will speak, the content of the speech or the content of what they're talking about. But the way they put that across, the way they convey it, your body language, the way you play around with your voice,
Correct.
like how we call as the pitch and the voice modulation that we use, right? And how is it that you have that confidence and that body language, that
Correct.
makes a lot of difference.
Correct, correct.
If there is someone who's just very stiff and he's trying to put a point across,
Yeah.
right, you will not definitely
Connect.
be able
Yeah.
to relate to him.
Correct.
It'll be like, okay, there is something, there's lack of energy and
Yeah.
there's no enthusiasm about what he's talking about.
Yes.
But at the same time, if that person is actually enthusiastic about what he's speaking, and if it shows in his body language, if it shows in his the gestures that they use, or the confidence that the person puts across, that makes a lot of difference.
Correct.
So that is where we see, when you look at it from a communication point of view, like Dr. Malini Hebbar said, the verbal component is really small.
Correct.
The majority component is your non-verbal
Non-verbal
communication as well.
Yes.
So that is basically the skill that everyone needs to sort of work on.
Correct.
When they're talking about communication, when they're talking about taking their communication to the next level and making it more effective, it's very important to focus on these
Correct.
aspects,
Correct.
which is of the non-verbal
Correct.
communication.
Yeah, as you say,
Yes,
go on,
I mean,
please.
if I could come in again,
Yes.
because I mentioned
Please.
that
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead.
verbal and non-verbal and 93 and 7.
Yes, correct.
It was Mehrabian, an Armenian, who came up with this kind of ratio.
Yeah.
And he himself admitted at a later point of time that he was grossly misinterpreted.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you can talk nonsense and make up for
Yeah,
that
I
with
know.
your body language and your vocal
Yes,
variety.
yes,
Correct,
absolutely.
correct.
What he meant to say was, your text is there. It's
yes,
there
yes,
intact.
yes, yes.
But as
Saurabh.
Saurabh said, when you put across that text, you'll have to enhance the effectiveness,
Of
the
that text.
impact factor of that text.
Correct.
And that impact factor goes to 93% with non-verbals.
Correct.
However, modern research doesn't give it as 93 and 7. It
Okay.
gives it as 65 and 35.
Okay.
65 for non-verbal and 35 for
for
verbal, which I think is more realistic.
Correct, correct.
Probably when we think in
Correct.
terms of, because no matter how good a communicator I might be as far as my body language is concerned or vocal variety is concerned,
Correct.
finally your words
What you convey,
do
yeah. Yes.
matter.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
words matter.
Correct.
Otherwise, how do you reason out the effectiveness of a few leaders or communicators who communicate effectively despite the fact that they're not great
Yeah.
when it comes to dramatics
Yeah.
that we talk about in Toastmasters, you know, space and this and that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, since you are talking about the non-verbal part, yesterday was viral, like Jaya Bachchan's issue on, Lok
Yeah.
Sabha, and she was very clear that I did not like the tone you used, right? That is what Saurabh brought in. So I think, yeah, because when you're speaking, though you are speaking few words, the rest of the things, paraphernalia, whatever you call,
Yes.
non-verbal is also very important. ಮಾಲಿನಿ ಅವರೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ಹೌದು.
ತುಂಬಾ
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ-
ಸಂತೋಷ.
ಹೌದು, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರು ತುಂಬಾ ಕನ್ನಡದವರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
ಸಂತೋಷ.
ಮಾತಾಡುವ.
ನನ್ನ ದೊಡ್ಡಮ್ಮ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು,
ಹೌದು.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದುಕೊಂಡು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸೊ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂವಹನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂವಹನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರದ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರೈಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ವೇ ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವೆ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್? ಇಸ್ ದರ್ ಎನಿ ಸೆಟ್ ಇದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಅಂತ?
ನನಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ನಾವು ಈವನ್ ಭಾಷೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವ ಭಾಷೆಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಒತ್ತು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಬರೆಯುವ ಭಾಷೆಗಿಂತ ಕೂಡ. ಆಗ ನಂಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, ಬರೆಯುವುದು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಕಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಉಂಟು, ಅದು ಯಾಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಒತ್ತು ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಒಂದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಈಗ ಬರೆಯುವ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೋ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್, ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಓದುಗರ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೊಂದಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತದೆ.
ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಗೆ ಓದ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ಮನವರಿಕೆ ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ,
ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅವರದ್ದು, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾರೋ ಅದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟಂತದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಆ ಶಬ್ದದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖದಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತಹ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳು ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ನೀಡುವಂತಹ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೀಡುವಂತಹ ಪಾಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಪೂರ್ಣಗೊಂಡು ಇರುವಾಗ ನನ್ಗನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ ಈ ನಾವು ಓರಲ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ವೆರಿ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅಂತ ನನ್ಗನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಮಾತು. ಆಲ್ದೋ ಸಂಶೋಧಕರು ಹೇಳೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಬಟ್ ನನ್ಗನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ ಓರಲ್. ಈಗ ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನೃತ್ಯ ಕೂಡ, ನೃತ್ಯದ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಸಂಗೀತದ ಮೂಲಕ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಹೌದು, ಆದ್ರೆ ಸೈನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋರ್ ಒಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಅರ್ಥ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್, ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಅರ್ಥ, ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದೇ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್, ವೈಜ್ಞಾನಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು ಸೈನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಈಗ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಉಂಟು.
ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈವ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಬಸ್ನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Sir, would you like to add something? I mean, what type of communication is best for a certain situation, maybe oral or written?
So it actually kind of depends on what the kind of communication that what is the audience that you're addressing to, or what is the importance of that particular communication. Now, for example, you would have an email that you're sending out to your employees of your organization, right? That this is the certain things, or it is regarding certain decision that you're doing within the company, for example. There will be a way of putting it across in paper, right? You will be putting it across as an email, and you'll draft it and put it across. But as you spoke about, what is the tone that the management wants to put across there? What is the seriousness of that particular communication? Is there a certain point that you want to stress on, that you want everyone to take note of, right? That can only be done if it is done verbally, right? In a text, you will have everyone will read it in one go, and they'll not really be able to understand what is it that they need to emphasize on. Whereas when you are talking in a particular tone, or it may be something very serious that a company is taking a serious decision, but the way the company or the management puts it across,
Correct.
the tone can be set very effectively when it is coming to an oral communication.
Correct, correct.
Although there is a very significant importance of the written communication as well, right? Something said orally cannot, be, taken seriously, or there's no documentation for that.
Correct.
Whereas when it comes to documentation, where you require the communication to be preserved and documented, then the written is definitely
better.
very
Yeah,
important.
yeah,
So
yeah.
both are equally important, but that depends on the kind of situation, or how is it that you are wanting to communicate. What is the
Communicate.
situation that you want to
And
communicate?
who are the audiences?
Exactly.
Who are the
exactly.
audiences?
So
Because
knowing the
one-
audience is really
Yes,
important.
Yes, correct. Because you may, the expression may be X on your face, but you are conveying some in words maybe
Exactly,
Y.
exactly.
So X and Y it goes.
And
it goes,
also, how
contrary.
everyone individually interprets it is also different.
Correct.
Someone might take it in another sense, or someone
Lighter
might,
sense,
in a
someone
lighter
might-
sense,
yeah.
someone might take
Same
it very
word,
seriously.
same word.
Someone might take offense to things.
Correct,
also.
correct.
So you need to make sure that that it's communicated effectively. If there is a mixture of both, that will be really perfect. as well.
If I can add on,
Yeah, please.
even in our verbal communication, oral communication, communication is a slippery zone.
Slope. Yeah.
Things can go wrong
Anytime,
grossly.
yeah, I know.
ನನಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನೆನಪಾಗೋದು, ನಮ್ದು ತಂದೆಯವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಮದುವೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಂದು ಒಂದು ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರದ್ದು ಮದುವೆ ಉಡುಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿ ಅವ್ರವ್ರದ್ದು ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬರುವಾಗ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮದುವೆ ಆದ ದಿನವೇ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕೋಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬಂದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಹೋಗುದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನ್ಗೆ ಬೇಡವೇ ಬೇಡ, ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ. ನನ್ನ ತಂದೆಗಂತೂ ಗಾಬರಿ. ಅವ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಮದುವೆ ಹೋಗುದೇ ಬೇಡ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಅವರು ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದದೆಲ್ಲ, ಈ ನನ್ನ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರು ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದದೆಲ್ಲ ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇದಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಆಡು ಭಾಷೆಯ ಒಂದು ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬಂದದ್ದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವರು ಅವರದ್ದು ನ್ಯೂಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾರಿಡ್ ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ಇವ್ರನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ, ಓ ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇವರು, ನಾನು ಹೋದಾಗ ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನಿದೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇವರಿಗೆ ಕೋಪವೇ ಕೋಪ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನನ್ನ ತಂದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು. ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒನ್ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ದ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಹೌದು,
ಖುಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಅದೇ ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಖುಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೋಪ ಬಂತು, ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕರೆದು ಬಂದು ಬಿಟ್ರ. So whether it is written or oral.
That point is very valid when it comes to languages. So for example, if someone is wanting to communicate in another language, now I'm not very fluent in Kannada. So if I want to communicate something, I will translate the English in Kannada and speak. Right? So when I translating,
construct ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ convert ಮಾಡಿ.
Exactly. Or it happens like ನಾವು ಜನರಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಈಗ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ we will try to convert whatever is our thoughts are in Kannada and then translate it literally when we are speaking.
Exactly.
So that time the tone or the words might not fit in exactly perfectly, right? So there also we see a lot of times that there is a gap when it comes to what exactly you want to communicate, because that language barrier also a lot of times plays a role, when it comes to communication.
Correct. Coming to, because we are talking about communication, so when you talk about communication, listening andre keluvudu is very important.
Yes.
Right? So maybe what are the strategies a leader can use to make his team better listeners? Maybe I can start with
Okay,
Malini.
so you are asking what are the strategies a leader can use to make his listeners more attentive.
Team,
So you are not asking me about how a leader himself or herself can develop
Also, you can add that
the
also,
listening skill.
definitely.
Now the strategy to make your audience listen to you better,
How?
first of all, would be with your eye contact.
Correct.
Okay. Now, if I don't fix you with my eyes and show confidence, if I'm shifty-eyed, you don't feel like
I
listening
know.
to me.
You avoid the eye contact and
Yes.
you hide.
So many people have problems with this eye contact. So sometimes as communicators, we give them the tip. If you find it difficult to look into the eye of somebody, look at the forehead or the place here, so that the person gets the idea that you're looking at him or her into the eye, but it needn't necessarily be so.
Very.
So if I want you to listen to me,
Correct.
I must first of all establish my eye contact with you. That is very important. And when you respond, I must be equally attentive by nodding my head,
Correct.
by showing with my facial expression that I am receptive to your ideas.
Correct.
And I also come up with what we call open-ended leading questions, not close-ended
Correct.
questions which will expect my audience just
yes
to come.
or no, yeah.
Yes,
Yes or no answer
monosyllables.
question. Yeah.
So as a communicator, it's a two-way process.
Correct, correct.
When I speak, I expect you to listen to me. When you speak,
yeah,
I should
listen.
listen to you.
Correct,
That's the
correct.
only way we can develop
Correct, correct.
the ability.
Yeah. So
Saurabh?
basically, like Malini ma'am said, the leader has to lead by example when it comes to active.
Correct.
We call it like active
Active listening, correct.
Right? One thing is you're just listening to someone, and one is you're actively listening to someone. So like she said, when we are looking into the eye of the person and talking to them or listening to them, they feel the importance. Okay, whatever they are saying, okay, someone is listening to me, right? So that feeling is something that is really very important. And now when it comes to the firm, if for example, if it's a business organization, like a leader, he has to make sure that on a regular basis, he's also listening to his employees, which we call as like the feedback.
Correct,
right?
correct.
When feedback is very important, wherein if at all, are they facing any challenges? Is there something that is not being, not that is hampering them from giving their best performance, right?
Correct.
So when a leader is actively involved in trying to take the feedback, listening to what the others, his team members are wanting to convey, or is there any challenges that they are facing, it makes a lot of difference, wherein it creates an environment of inclusiveness.
Correct.
Within,
They also feel
that they're important.
They feel, okay,
Yeah.
belongingness or something
Exactly,
like that.
the belongingness. So whenever you want any organization to function, everyone needs to feel that the organization is of their own.
Correct.
Right? That can be done if there is an involvement in everyone in the process. The decision-making power is with the leader.
Correct.
But
correct.
the
You should
inputs-
invite.
Yes,
and
the invite and the
listen.
inputs need to be
Correct,
taken.
correct.
That is really very important from a leader's point of view.
Correct, correct.
And the listening, what I feel, is one of the most important factors.
Correct,
If you look at communication
How?
as well, right? When you're able to listen to their points, you are able to understand what is it that their point of view is. Rather than you just communicating the way you feel that everyone wants to know, that is where you say, that is how you know your audience.
Correct.
By listening to them and understanding what is it that they want to listen, and then you convey your thoughts accordingly.
Correct.
So that is very important when it comes to listening
Correct.
aspect in communication.
Correct, correct. Yeah, now the technology is all over, right? Everywhere.
Absolutely.
And everything is on your small mobile which you
Yes,
carry.
yes.
And AI, artificial intelligence, is one of the major tools available in
Yes, yes.
in the world now. I mean, everybody is
Absolutely.
riding on it, and everybody wants to get the piece of the cake of
Exactly.
AI, right?
Exactly.
Everybody, whether they do it or not, they say, I am AI enabled, AI, everywhere.
Yes.
So can you say how AI can be used in communication in general, and maybe on your business related things,
Right.
or your profession related things
Right.
add on? Yeah.
Right. So AI, as you said, it's something that is really catching up very fast.
Correct.
It is like the next big thing that everyone is speaking about. There is also a lot of negativity around
Yes,
it, that it will take
definitely,
over
yes.
humans.
So many
it will
jobs
cut
and
out
other
on
things,
jobs
yeah.
and all
True,
of that.
true.
But the way I look at it is it's basically a tool that will help you make your work even better or faster.
Yeah.
Like when you look at communication as such. So when you are trying to, for example, draft an email, or if you want to convey something, right? You have a lot of these AI tools right now, wherein you put in these whatever you, for example, if you have written something, if you want to be enhanced, it can give you an instant result of how is it that you can better refine your communication or your written communication as such.
Correct.
Right? There are a lot of different tools that we just spoke about with respect to how is it that you can talk, and it will point out that how is it that you can improve
Correct.
on that communication, what are the points that you need to focus on.
Evaluation
and all
of speeches.
Evaluation of speeches as such.
Correct, correct.
So that is a very effective tool, and now it has become, initially it used to be something that might not have been accessible to everyone.
Correct.
But right now, even if you look at it, even our basic WhatsApp,
Yes.
even in the basic WhatsApp, you have the Meta AI, which has been now integrated into your WhatsApp, right? You can ask any question, anything that you want. If you just say that, okay, I want to prepare a 1 hour session on something, it will give you a entire
Session
list
plan
of session
and
plan.
what
How
all
is it
things
that
you
you can
need.
plan? What are the activities that you can do? What are the points that you need to focus on? So it gives you a thought process on how is it that you need to frame. But then obviously, your inputs are very, very important. There's nothing that's going to beat that human
touch,
the touch which is there, but it will and help you reach to that decision faster.
Correct.
It will increase your speed. It will help you get in the different kinds of words, vocabulary, thoughts that you did not really had access to.
Correct.
And it will help you enhance your communication even better.
Correct.
Right? You will be able to put your point across better. It will be more crisp.
Correct.
Sometimes we turn to be very, verbose.
Lengthy,
as you said. We try to talk, beat around the bush. We go around and then reach to the point.
Correct.
But by then the audience will already lose their,
True.
focus and attention.
True.
So how is it that you can be bang on with respect to your communication? It will definitely help you enhance that.
Correct.
And with respect to any field, it can be a business organization, or it can be even in students, for example. If the students are wanting, to prepare for something, some kind of an article or some kind of an, a speech or something that they're giving, it helps you,
to enhance
your thought process as such really effectively.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be something that everyone should use it, but not completely depend on as well.
Correct.
Right? You just don't copy paste and
I know.
you do the entire thing and just give away, because that is the lazy way of getting out of it. But then you want to make sure that you build on that and help that, so that you can make it much more effective for yourself.
Yeah, Malini.
Yes, I have two things to add on.
Yeah.
I find AI or anything to do with technology both fascinating and frightening. I
Yeah,
won't say
correct.
no
Both
to
sides, yeah.
technology,
Yeah.
because right now we are using technology. Otherwise, we wouldn't have reached out to thousands of our viewers if we didn't have this technology. So we can't say no to technology. But when it comes to AI, we ourselves discussed hugely that Toastmasters uses now even in meetings to evaluate speeches, to come up with your with a count of your verbal crutches and giving you suggestions of how many repeated words you used, etc., etc., etc. But what I feel is that AI can never replace your platform performance.
Yeah.
Your platform performance ultimately depends on what you do
Correct.
on the platform. That
Correct.
is point number one. Point number two is that when we talk about artificial intelligence, now you gave the example of the WhatsApp. Now you have that feature, right, where you can apply that and say, I want this resume to be given to me in 200 words. It works on your resume and gives it to you with the number of words specified. But then you stop thinking altogether,
Correct.
because
Yeah.
it is doing your work for you.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know much about it, but I read about neuroplasticity, where they say that, the neurons in your brain, when they are fired, okay, they work well.
Yeah.
And they even say that you can stop the problem or the risk of Alzheimer's when your mind is active.
Correct.
So, I want to keep my brain active. And I'm afraid that if I take recourse to AI to a very large extent,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
brain
Yeah.
stops aiding me
Yeah.
in my thinking process.
Correct.
And that is why I'm not very comfortable
Correct.
with the idea of taking recourse to AI completely with tasks that we can manage on
On
our
their
own.
own, yes,
yes.
Now, AI might give you the resume in 200 words, but it will never give the personal touch that I would
I
have
would have
given
done.
that resume
Absolutely.
if I were to work on that
Yeah.
resume because of my knowledge of that person.
Yeah.
If I have to introduce you
Yeah.
or if I have to introduce MN, I would give the personal touch to it.
Correct.
And that
Correct.
personal touch will definitely be
Stand out,
lacking.
yes.
Absolutely.
And that I feel is something that we are missing out on because of our heavy reliance
Yes.
on technology.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
That's true. As you said, AI is a tool. How you use it? Every tool has both sides,
Exactly.
right? Plus or
Exactly.
minus.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which side you look at and how you use it and enhance your
Yeah.
performance in whatever you're doing. That's what is this thing. We have seen various leaders. Maybe in India or abroad. Like maybe the present Prime Minister Modi, or maybe the earlier Indira Gandhi, Abdul Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi, or maybe internationally if you talk about quite a few, like even including Hitler. They were all
Yeah.
good communicators.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what is your thought? To be a leader, you need to be the best communicator. And where did the performance come in then? It's just the communication happens, performance doesn't happen, or performance and communication go hand in hand?
Well-
Performance and what they do, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it has to be both ways. You just can't say something or communicate something and not back it up with you know, something in action, it's like a call for action. If you look at all the big leaders, like you gave the example of even Hitler for that matter.
Yeah, correct.
Through his speeches or through his communication, he was able to convince people to even, you know, give up their lives and fight for their lives.
Correct.
That is the amount of motivation and the amount of inspiration that he was able to convey to his audience. Although the intentions were not in the right place, but as an if you look at it purely from a communication point of view, it was very, very effective, right? And one more thing I feel from a leader's point of view is that he needs to have that empathy, you know, when it comes to communication, that you need to understand what your audience is going through, or if at all, for example, if it's a leader of a country or a leader of a large you know, area of people, you need to make sure that you understand what are the pain points that your people are going through, and then you communicate based on that, right? If you go ahead and, for example, if a leader goes into a village and he starts talking about AI and he talks about technology or IT or all of these things, they will not resonate with you at all.
Exactly.
They will completely not understand. They're not able to connect. Very important is the connection. How is it that you connect to them? How is it that, okay, it resonates to them that, okay, this person is our own and he is trying to lead us to another direction. When that kind of a feeling comes in your audience, the effectiveness of the leader becomes much more higher.
Correct.
So when you are empathetic towards your audience, you understand what they are going through or what are their pain points, what is their expectation from you. When you understand that and you speak based on that particular pain point or the thing that they want to listen to, you will be able to communicate much better. And that is generally what we have seen with respect to all the big leaders in the world. You know, be it in any region, it can be Nelson Mandela, it can be Martin Luther King, or it can be any of our prime ministers that you've spoken about. They are able to resonate and relate. The people find them relatable.
Correct.
Like when someone says that, okay, he's like our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he was a chai wala. So when they are able, when he speaks in the tone that when he understands that what everyone is going through and what is their journey like, if he is able to address that, people will be able to attract you even better.
Correct.
So that is very important when it comes to you know, being a leader and communicating based on what your audience actually is understanding. And what is it that, you know, if you're able to empathize with them, they'll be able to definitely communicate better with you. As such, listen to you better.
Yes, Saurabh has covered many important points, but what I have to add on is that we go by the saying that one size does not fit all.
Correct.
So what works for you as a leader might not work for me as a leader.
Correct.
Now, if you go to one of our leaders, now if you go to Vivekananda, the way he attracted the attention, he was a whole package. He had the you know, demeanor,
following and international following.
Yes, international, and he had everything to him. He was a complete package. But that kind of charisma might not be there with another leader. But that leader will still succeed because there is that other simplicity, like in Kalam's, Abdul Kalam's case. The childlike simplicity that he had made you follow him. If he asked me to go to the cliff and jump, I would probably do that because I was enamored by his simplicity. So there are different things, but what I feel is that conviction, a leader, whoever it is, and whichever is his method, a leader needs to have conviction about what he is prepared to do, and without that conviction he cannot succeed. Now, one more negative example of leadership, you mentioned Hitler. Now, even Columbus is not taken fully positively because, you know, he had no integrity, he was accused of being a liar and all that. But his focus was fixed on his goal, and he believed in his idea that he would find you know, whatever he wanted to discover, he knew that he would do that. So that power of conviction, I feel, is important for a leader. If I have many doubts within me about what I have set out to do, how can I convince others to follow me and to do what I want them to do?
There is a caller, please. Namaste. Hello.
Hello.
Heli amma.
Ram.
Heli.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ
My question, sir.
Yes.
Body language, angry face, broad smile, oral, writing, silence, digital, through mobile, Facebook, WhatsApp, email, PowerPoint are some of the examples of communication. What are the other types of communication? Next.
Okay.
What are do's and don'ts in communication and leadership? Next. Mobile is a good servant but bad master. Next. How Mr. A can understand that Mr. B has understood his communication 100% when both of them are not together. Next. A speaker in public meeting talks for 10 minutes. We feel that he has spoken for 1 hour and vice versa. What are the communication skills and leadership capacity for college teachers, chief guests in public speech, business people and sales representatives? Next. Sir, do you agree that relevant quotations, examples, jokes also is a part of communication skill? Next. Please highlight dress code for a candidate who appears for a job to impress the interview board that he has got communication ability and leadership capacity. Next. A good boss is one who extracts first class work from third class subordinates. Motivation, sympathy, appreciation helps to get leadership capacity. Dictatorship should be the last priority. What are the other leadership qualities of a team leader so that it will be a win-win situation for all? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, he is one of our regular callers, you know. He involves and he prepares the questions. He puts in efforts. Thank you, Ram Rao, for once again joining with us. So, a couple of things Namathra Salpa already list madidittu. Maybe the light away. See, as he said, 10-minute speech and you feel that you have heard him for 1 hour. Or even the other way, you know, somebody spoke for 1 hour but it just went in a jiffy. I mean, how do you, what does that convey when an audience, comes to that kind of a conclusion?
All right, I think a little bit of this has already been
Correct,
discussed
covered, yeah.
as to how we enhance the verbal quality of the speech with your non-verbals, and I can come out as a very dry speaker if I don't try to.
Yeah.
And even among TED speakers, there has been a research that has been carried out about TED speakers
TED Talks,
who are all, considered
accomplished
yes.
speakers kind of.
But
yeah.
then they say the ones who use their hands more turned out to be having a greater appeal to the audience than
Correct.
the ones who didn't use their hands.
Correct.
So gestures, body language
Correct,
and all
correct,
that.
correct.
But as I've already said, the element of not getting involved with what the speaker says is when the speaker is not able to establish the rapport
Correct.
with the audience.
Correct.
How does the speaker establish the rapport with the audience? We have also covered it to some extent.
Correct.
That is with your body language, eye contact, facial
speech tone,
expression.
yeah.
He himself mentioned that
Correct.
anger and all that. But
Correct.
most importantly, if I am given 10 minutes, I should time myself to see that I finish in 10 minutes.
Correct, exactly.
If I am given half an hour, I must prepare my audience right at the beginning by telling them that my presentation is going to be for half an hour.
Half an hour, correct.
They're then mentally tuned to listen to me for half an hour. Now, if this program, if you don't know that it will be till certain
What time do we end?
stipulated,
Yeah,
yes.
correct.
So the audience should be first of all made aware
Correct.
of the time factor.
Correct.
Because one of the formulas for success is the time management of a speaker.
Correct.
Most of them, they say that they don't know when to stop, they don't know how to stop.
Correct.
Those are the problems innate
Yeah.
Yeah.
in addition to the content part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to add?
Yeah.
anything?
So like one of the points that someone who speaks for just
10
1
minutes.
hour, 10 minutes, it feels like he's spoken for an hour, and the other way around as well. When someone is speaking for an hour, but it seems like 10 minutes because you were so engaged and involved in that particular person's speech that you forgot about the time as well.
Exactly.
Because he was able to relate to what you actually wanted to listen to.
Exactly.
A lot of times we've seen that it happens that we go to a certain function. There's a chief guest who's been invited, right? The event is of a particular theme or a particular kind of an audience which is there. But the speaker, when he comes to speak, he speaks about completely different
Totally different
topic,
thing. Yes, exactly.
right? So as a speaker also, it is very important for you to know where is it that you are addressing, what is whom is it that you are addressing to, and what is the time frame, as Dr. Malini pointed out. What is the time frame that you have with respect to the talk that you are giving?
Correct.
It's only when you're able to do that you will be able to resonate with the audience. Otherwise, they'll be like, "Oh, imbe batte ye padu paathirandulle." When is he going to not speak? That should.
When
not
are you
happen.
going to? I mean,
Yeah, when is he going to stop?
Right?
Right? So that kind of feeling comes in if you are speaking completely out of the bounds. It's like a bouncer that goes above the head of the audience.
Correct.
So very important for you to know what is it that you are addressing, and you plan your communication accordingly.
Yeah.
That is really very important when it comes to
because
whenever you're trying to give any kind of a communication or a speech as such.
mean,
I would like to add on
yeah,
just
please,
one
please,
point which we have not touched upon.
Uh-huh.
I read somewhere about this humor cliff.
Mhm.
They say that after your
Yeah.
prime of youth, around 23, I mean, I'm way beyond that, they say that, it starts dipping.
Okay.
So I feel for a speaker, no matter how serious the subject it is, if it is possible, humor cannot be imposed upon the speaker,
I
and
know.
we can't say you need to be humorous.
Humorous,
Yeah.
exactly.
But then if we can bring in
Subtle
certain
humor.
lighter elements, it will go against the monotony
Exactly.
of our presentation.
Correct.
That is why even in Toastmasters we have a whole path called engaging humor.
Correct. Yeah.
So that we train ourselves to see that we reach out to people. As the saying goes, even gods would like a joke, they say. So it's better
Correct.
to
Yeah.
see that we don't deteriorate and become too serious, too stiff-necked about what we have to say.
Yeah.
We can take a lighter approach. This I say that many of us are afraid to be humorous.
I know.
We feel that the audience might think that we are flippant
Yeah, exactly.
just because we are humorous. But humor is not being flippant. Humor is one of the tools in which you can engage your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One point I'd like to add to that. For example, from the humor, which is really very important, another thing is the interaction with your audience. If you are able to interact with them, then it will capture the attention of the audience. If it's just a monologue where you're continuously speaking
Correct,
and they just have to listen, then it is something wherein with the current world where your attention spans are less than 10 seconds,
I know.
it is very, very important for you to make sure that you are interacting with your audience.
Correct.
It can be in forms of questions, it can be in forms of, it can be rhetorical
Some
questions as
activity,
well.
maybe
Yeah,
some-
it can be some kind of an activity or somewhere where you're trying to get feedback from the audience as
Correct.
well. Like for example, if you have certain things you want to point out, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can ask the audience what is it that they feel, and then you can build upon
That.
those
Exactly.
topics. Where the involvement is there, it becomes like a dialogue, like a discussion,
Correct.
where their attention spans will be with you, and they'll feel like even if you've taken 10 minutes, even if you've taken
1 hour,
10
yeah.
minutes, an hour, it
And
seems
will
like
feel
10 minutes
10
itself.
minutes. Yeah, same way. In a sense, there was since you are talking about humor and 10 minutes, 1 hour, there was a program happening and one speaker was delivering his speech. After 15-20 minutes, he was not stopping and he continued to speak. And part by part, the audience started moving out. But finally, one fellow was sitting there, only one fellow. And he concluded his speech after about 1.5 hours and came near the person. I'm really thankful to you, you've been sitting through my speech for such a long time. Why did you sit? No sir, once you stop speaking, I need to disconnect the mic and carry
So very often, even in real life situations, I've seen that good speakers spoil the show for themselves by coming to false conclusions.
Exactly.
What I mean to say is that I was the MC at a program, and it was he was a very good speaker who spoke in Kannada. But every now and then he would use phrases of this kind. ನಾನು ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ. So when somebody says ನಾನು ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತಾ, you think that that person is coming to the concluding part. So I would sit up straight because I was the MC. I had to respond to him. But then he gave
He
us
went
that
on and
wrong
went on and
conclusion
on.
so many times,
I know.
7 to 8 times. ಇಂತಹ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಮಾತಿನೊಂದಿಗೆ it went on like
it's
that.
like a concluding sentence, but
Yes.
it
But then it
doesn't.
starts with
And
another
what
story.
happens is
Yeah.
you start getting distracted
irritated,
because you
yeah.
think he's going to stop, but he's not going to. That's why I
Yeah.
said one should know when to stop and also how to stop.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
You
Yeah.
don't cheat your audience.
Exactly. There's a caller.
Yeah.
Let's listen.
Sure.
Yeah, namaste. Hello. Hello, namaste. Cut. Okay, I think the call got disconnected. We'll continue with that. In we were discussing something there. Some of you, I mean, you mentioned, both of you mentioned communication style. You know, different styles of communication. Maybe you can throw some light on different styles of communication. Maybe I can start with Malini madam.
Yes, again, I mean, all three of us are Toastmasters,
Yeah, I know.
so I think we are relying very heavily on what we have gathered
Yeah,
from
over the years,
Toastmasters
yeah, correct.
over the years. You see, I can be a persuasive speaker.
Hmm.
I can try to motivate you. That is it could be my style of speaking.
Correct.
I could be a philosophical speaker,
Correct,
trying to talk about some abstruse things in life. You know, what is truth, what is life, you know, there are different styles.
Right.
As I said, I could be a speaker who would like to be instructional. I could be a speaker who wants to be...
1 second,
Yes.
we'll continue because
Yes,
the caller
yes,
is back.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
namaste. Yeah, please go ahead. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. What's your name, sir?
Hello.
Yeah. Can you introduce? You can reduce the volume of your TV if you are on watching TV also.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Please, we can hear you.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
I think he can't hear.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir. I can hear you.
My
Go
name
ahead.
is Rakesh Naik. I just wanted to congratulate the speakers for such an interesting discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Has the reliance on social media communication in any way impacted the effectiveness of the face-to-face communication of Generation Z or the new generation as they are called? This is my question.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. We will try to answer, sir. After this topic, communication style, we'll come to his question.
Sure.
Please continue, madam. Yeah.
So I was just talking about different styles of communication.
Correct.
Now each time that I communicate, I might take a different style depending upon the topic.
Correct.
Right.
Now if I want to convince my audience about, let's say, vegetarianism, then my style turns out to be persuasive.
Exactly.
But if I want to talk to them about the cleanliness of Mangalore and the need for us to get involved as citizens of Mangalore, I might try to motivate them.
Call
So
to action.
yes,
Do something for this.
correct.
Yes.
And if it is just explaining things to my students as to how to do a thing, my style becomes instructional.
True.
So different styles depending upon the topic that we choose. So it's not necessary that my style remains the same.
Same for all
Yeah.
three.
Yes.
In the
See,
example.
my body language might remain the same,
Correct.
but the style
Content and the style.
can
What
be
you-
the
How you
different.
convey.
Yes.
Yeah.
How you say it, they say.
How you say it, yeah. So that even that comes with respect to your even the non-verbal communication. For that aspect, it changes as per your requirement. If it is instructional, it is something else. If it is motivational, you will try to have that pitch in your voice, which will make sure that
The energy and
the energy and the
yeah.
enthusiasm needs to be there. The other is about, we spoke about humor. If you are generally addressing an audience, you want it to be humorous, engaging, and you want to communicate to them. So that is a different, again, style
Correct,
of communication that is there,
correct.
wherein you have that natural flair where you try to tend to crack a joke a little bit and make sure that you put the
Correct.
point across, even with that subtle humor which is
Correct,
there, right? So
correct.
there is a lot of different styles there. And you also have like the persuasive style, or ones where you have to influence someone, where there needs to be done that influential power needs to be there. You will focus your style as per that. So the style will obviously again change as per the situation that or the
What it calls
people that
for,
you're
yeah,
addressing
correct.
to. So
Correct.
that is very important for you to mold yourself according to that. There is no, as Malini ma'am said, there is no one size fits all, right?
Correct.
So you need to have a different range of communication styles depending on whom you're speaking with.
Correct.
Yeah.
So coming to the caller's
Yeah.
question, what is it is in this world of social media,
Right.
how relevant it is that Generation Z is getting into more of social media and less of face to face.
Yes,
So
yes.
what is your views on that?
Well, I feel that a lot of times we've seen recently, we have this thing that we create, we have friends on social media, right? We will have 1,000 friends or 1,500 friends. But how many of them do you actually personally know?
Yeah, exactly.
It will be probably very few. okay, it will be someone that it might be your school friends, your college friends that you're trying to be in touch. It's a great tool for you to reach out to all of them.
Exactly.
And get in touch with the people that you've met in your journey, and be in touch with them, get to know what they're doing, tell everyone else what is it that you're doing, and so on. But at the same time, that physical, the physical one-to-one of conversations, talking to your friends, going out with them,
Correct.
having an evening at a cafe, meeting them, going for a movie, chatting with them, that is very, very important. You have the social media to get in touch with people who are not in your vicinity.
Correct.
Right? Whoever is not there with you, who's in another city or so on and so forth, it's a great tool for you to get in touch with them. And now you also have the video calls.
Correct.
So there you have the option of having the communication as well as that one-to-one.
Looking at the person, yeah.
Looking at the person as well,
True,
right?
true.
But it is very important, especially for the Gen Z, as we call it, right, to also be physically present with
Exactly.
respect to your friends, your communication that is there, because nothing beats that.
Exactly.
Like we said, we spoke about the personal touch.
Exactly.
That personal touch is always going to be there when you are speaking one-to-one. It also helps you enhance your skills.
Correct.
Your communication skills are enhanced when you're put in the spot.
Exactly.
Right? When it is social media, you can think and then you can type. If you don't like something, you delete it.
Yeah.
But when you're in person, what comes out comes out.
Comes out,
There's
exactly.
no undo button, or there's no delete the button that is there, right? So you will be very conscious of what you're talking about in terms of your tone, in terms of your words. So it's very important for you to make sure that you have that interaction with your friends, your family on a regular basis, while you are using social media as well to communicate with a wider range of people.
Correct.
So that is what I feel.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel it's a cliche to say that we lose out on our interpersonal relationships.
Correct.
That's a known fact now.
True.
Even inside the house, we sit in one room and we send communication
Yeah.
to others.
WhatsApp to the-
yes, switch
the
off the
persons, yeah.
TV and things like
Correct.
that. But when it comes to the social media, which our caller focused on, what I feel is, for me, yes, we all are fascinated by the idea of visibility on the social media. I am on Facebook, I
Correct.
am on Insta, I have
Correct.
my own YouTube channel in a very
Correct.
small way, of course. My daughter is a blogger, vlogger,
Okay.
everything. But the problem is that if we don't try to create for ourselves a world of reality,
Correct.
we are creating for ourselves an artificial world.
Yeah.
Very often we upload things and we even go to the extent of not allowing comments because we are afraid that we might have some negative comments. So we are not
Ready to
prepared
receive,
for that.
yeah,
We are
yeah.
not prepared for anything that
Correct,
is negative.
correct.
We are creating for ourselves an artificial world of
Yeah.
grandeur,
Yeah.
and we think that everyone is my admirer. And that kind of existence where you are not face to face with reality
Correct,
is
correct.
not healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it can take them to the brink of frustration when reality hits them,
Hits them,
Yes.
in the
exactly,
face.
exactly.
And
Right.
we have had tragedies
Yes.
because of this. Just because youngsters cannot take
Correct.
one negative comment.
Correct.
Exactly.
So you see the Johari window, the blind spot. When are they going to look at that? When are they going to have that self-awareness? They will
Yeah.
not have when they are too much caught in
In
this
the-
social media.
Correct.
Yeah.
See, as we said a little while ago, we cannot say no to anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
per
Because you have to
se.
live in the world
Yes,
and you
we
have to ride on
Yes,
it,
yes,
ride it,
yes.
use it. rather.
And it's interesting.
Exactly.
If you can reach out to people globally,
I know.
why not?
Yes,
We can
right.
use that.
Yes.
But then let's not be in a world of myths. Let's be face to face with reality and remain healthy.
Correct.
I feel as an educator, the biggest problem that I foresee is this, that they are losing touch with reality. This artificial world
Very
is not healthy.
Very true.
There's a caller. Will
Yeah.
you take this call? Yes. Namaste.
Hello,
Heli.
this is Madhusudan Pandarkar from Ashok Nagar.
Tell me, sir.
See, I would like to know, good morning to you all.
Good morning.
I would like to know a few things
Yes.
about social media.
Yes, sir.
For instance, see, I'm active in Facebook.
Okay.
But I'm not active in Instagram.
Mhm.
Okay, because usually it is said that Instagram is meant for youngsters. But Instagram has got a lot of things to view, no?
Yes, yes.
Because I'm a calligrapher, I watch a lot of calligraphy works and music also. I'm also a small-time musician. So what I would like to know is, I have lots of friends in WhatsApp, and I'm a member of my college classmates group also, because I studied in Chennai. So I received lots of messages, videos and all. I would like to know how to, handle them, should I watch all the, because I'm not able to watch all the videos also. My, this thing becomes WhatsApp gets filled and I get messages, delete videos and all. So can you please, can the panelists advise me?
Yeah.
I'm a senior citizen.
Yeah.
So how to, handle this issue?
Yeah.
I'll be thankful to you.
Yes,
please.
sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I mean, first thing, as you said, I mean, before I pass it on to the panel, one thing is, I mean, auto saving of messages you can restrict, because it does not save your message on the mobile. Of course, we are going away from the topic, but still, since you asked the question, I am can I ask Saurabh for any inputs to Mr. Bhandarkar?
No, it's great that Mr. Bhandarkar is actually following his passion with respect to music and calligraphy.
Yeah.
Like he spoke about, which is really nice. And if he looks at social media, it's a really easy and nice way for him to put forward his work to the audience as well, right? Yes. So, for example, if his friends, they admire his work, they admire his music, they want to listen to more of it, or if they are sending him inputs with respect to videos and on
and
WhatsApp.
Also some feedback.
Yes, and feedback as well.
Better
exactly.
Some inputs,
so rather than focusing on the WhatsApp, what he can do is, like, he's on Facebook already. Facebook and Instagram is more or less very similar, right? But so if you can also link your Facebook and Instagram together. So whatever you post on Facebook comes in automatically on Instagram as well. So if, for example, if he's doing some kind of a calligraphy work, or if he's doing some kind of a music, I mean, he's playing a song or any kind of a video that he's doing, he can just upload that and give the link off to his audience. I mean, he has his group of friends, he has the WhatsApp group, he can just share the link there. Rather than the video. You can have your videos, probably like we have a YouTube channel, you can have a channel of your own and post in all your videos there, or on your social media or in Instagram, and just share the link, and your friends will be more than happy to go through all of your work at one place itself, right? And that will help you also reach out to a wider audience. I'm sure there will be a lot of other people who will admire your work and join in together and follow you as well, right? So that is a good way for you to get in touch with them also, and at the same time avoid the cumbersome thing of sending the videos individually, or getting the videos individually, or getting the feedback. The feedback can also be given in the comments as well, right? And as an Instagram or Facebook thing, the more engagement that you do on your platform with respect to Instagram or Facebook, the more the algorithm makes it reach out to a lot of other people as well, right? So it will help you expand your reach as well and use the social media to your benefit here. So that is something that I think you can do.
Malini, would you like to?
Yes, I would definitely want to come in, because I think I am with Mr. Bhandarkar when it comes to the question of not being very comfortable on Insta, but being very comfortable on FB.
Facebook,
because everything has its own, I must say,
the UI
system, and it's a little difficult. But I would like to say that we who are on the wrong side of, I'm not putting Bhandarkar here, I'm talking about myself, on the wrong side of age, very easily give up things, saying, "Hamare bas ki baat nahi hai," okay? What I feel is that age is not a bar for the spirit of learning.
True.
We have to. Why do we think that we cannot manage technology?
Exactly.
Why do we think that only youngsters should be adept at it? Frankly speaking, when we were introduced with Zoom, when we had the pandemic,
COVID came,
when we had Zoom meets for Toastmasters and all that, one night I took a Zoom link for myself and I started working out various options there, how to make a PowerPoint, how to share screen, everything. And I learned so much, and it became very addictive. In fact, when you start learning, it becomes very addictive. So
then
that spirit of learning,
experimenting certain things,
and you feel you have such joy,
happiness,
when you can manage. So that spirit of learning should be there, and we should not think that we are not able to.
Correct.
And we have to. And his question was more to do with Insta as to that. I think what I do is I work out on my own, but when I come to a dead end, then SOS calls to my daughters who are more knowledgeable than I am, and they manage things for me.
Correct, yeah. We spoke about communication styles, with the session being on communication and leadership. Let's move a little bit on styles of leadership, what we have. Theoretically maybe, and maybe on practical side of it also.
Right.
Yes. Now, would you like to start?
So leadership, there are different, like we have the different kinds of communications where we spoke about the persuasive, the authoritative, or the inclusive. So even in terms of leadership, I can broadly say that there is something wherein you have someone who is a leader, who is an influential leader. He or she has become a leader because in their community or in their the people, there was someone who had that zeal and the power to influence some people, right? So that is where, if you are able to have a particular vision in your mind, and all of you have a collective vision, but there's someone who has that ability to influence people together and get them together. So that is like an influential, kind of a leader. Wherein these are generally, the influential leaders are the ones who are emerging out of an audience. You have the Martin Luther Kings, the Nelson Mandelas. They are all leaders who were born. They were not born leaders. They were created because of the situation, how they stood out, and they were able to influence people. Then you have the authoritative style of leaders, wherein they have that power to to have the control over the people. Everyone will listen to you, right? They might like you. Exactly. They might like you, they might dislike you.
Correct.
There is a disadvantage and advantage in that kind of leadership. Wherein you will have a lot of people. It'll be a polarized thing.
Exactly.
You will have either people who love you, or you'll have people who will hate you, right? But then that is an authoritative style. Like you have the dictators of the world, and all of these guys who have been authoritative leaders. Another style of leadership is the inclusive leader. It's someone who is very inclusive, who takes everyone together.
Correct.
Right? Who will listen to everyone, take everyone's input, give everyone their due importance.
Correct.
And then make the decision on his own.
Correct.
By taking in everyone's input, taking everyone along, and then emerging out and taking the decision for the collective group.
Correct.
So that is an inclusive style of leadership, which is actually something that is very positive and very influential as well, because you have the attention and you have the acceptance of everyone in your team. Everyone feels like they are also important. It's not just that the leader is making the decision, he has asked us also, so I think I'm also important to him, right? So it makes them feel important as well. It makes them feel like a leader themselves, right? So that is another inclusive style of leadership, that I think that I can put across here.
I will come to you after the break, because we have a small commercial break, and after that we will continue with the same question to Malini madam. Now we take a small commercial break and we'll be back in few minutes. Thank you.
ಹೇ ನಾ ಹೇಗ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ?
ನೀ ಸೀರೆಯ ಹುಟ್ಟು ವಯ್ಯಾರದಿ ಬಂದೆ, ನಾ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ನನ್ನ ಅಡುಗೆಯನ್ನ ನೋಡುತ್ತಲೇ ನಿಂತೆ.
ವಾರೇವಾ, ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಶೆಫ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಕವಿ.
ಸನ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸನ್ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಆಯಿಲ್, ಹೆಲ್ದಿ, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಮತ್ತು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿದೆ ವಿಟಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಎ, ಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಇ. 30 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಶುದ್ಧತೆಯ ಅನುಬಂಧ.
ಭೀಮಾ ಶುಭ ವರಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಿ ಫೆಸ್ಟಿವಲ್ from 2nd to 18th August.
On silver, save up to rupees 2,500 per kg and get an additional cashback of rupees 2,500 per kg. On diamond, get flat rupees 7,000 off per carat plus 1 gram free gold coin with every carat.
You can also get up to 10% off on gold rate. So what are you waiting for? Available at all Bhima Jeweller showrooms. T&C apply.
Our mission is to deliver quality health care to every needy person in this region.
ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಂಎನ್ ರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಾರಥ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಸತತ 19 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಪೆಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ, 18 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಬಾರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಏಕೈಕ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳ ಜನರ ಸಮಗ್ರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಾಲ ಯೋಜನೆ, ಗೃಹ ಸಾಲ, ಕೃಷಿ, ಹೈನುಗಾರಿಕೆ, ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಾಲ, ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ, ವಾಹನ ಸಾಲ, ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಈಡಿನ ಸಾಲ ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಸಾಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಸುಲಭ ಹಾಗೂ ತ್ವರಿತಗತಿಯ ಸಾಲ ನೀಡಲಾಗುವುದು. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ತಿರದ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಖೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ. ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಚೇರಿ, ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸೌಧ, ಕೊಡಿಯಾಲ್ಬಾಯಿ, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಭರವಸೆಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್.
ನಿನ್ ತಂಗಿರ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗೋ ಮೊದಲು ನಿನ್ನ ಮದುವೆನೇ ಆಗೋದು.
ಏನಣ್ಣ ನಾವೇ ಹುಡುಕ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಬಾನಾನ ಬೆಳ್ದಿಂಗ್ಳು ಭೂಮಿ ತಬ್ಬಿದಂಗೆ, ನೀ ಬೆಳ್ಳಿ ಚುಕ್ಕಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಶಿವನನ್ನ ನೀ ಬೆಳಕ ಪಾರ್ವತಿ.
ನಾಳೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ 7:30ಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ.
ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀಗ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಎಜೆ ಸಮೂಹ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮಂಗಳೂರ ಜನತೆಗೆ ನೂತನ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಕರಾವಳಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಉದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊಸ ಮೈಲಿಗಲ್ಲು. ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಹೊರವಲಯದ ಎಕ್ಕೂರಿನ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ವಾತಾವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಎಕರೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆ ಎತ್ತಿ ನಿಂತಿದೆ ಪಂಚತಾರಾ ಮಾದರಿಯ ಐಷಾರಾಮಿ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಸುಸಜ್ಜಿತ ಆಧುನಿಕ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯ ನೂತನ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಸ್ಯಾಹಾರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಂಸಾಹಾರಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳು, ಮಧುವನ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ವೆಜ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್, ಲಿಗ್ರಾಂಡೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಕ್ಯೂಸಿನ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್, ಗ್ರಾಹಕರ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಫುಡ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ, ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಈಜುಕೊಳಗಳು, 3 ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ವೆಟ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗಳು, ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ರೂಮ್, 1000 ಮಂದಿ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಲು ಅವಕಾಶವಿರುವ ಓಪನ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್, ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಜಿಮ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಗಳು ಲಭ್ಯ. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಆತಿಥ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ಸಕಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಏಕೈಕ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಇಂದೇ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ. ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಎಕ್ಕೂರು ಬಜಾರ್, 2ನೇ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ರೋಡ್, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಮಳಿಗೆ, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಜನತೆಯ ಪ್ರಶಂಸೆ ಗಳಿಸಿದ ಮದುವೆ ಸೀರೆಗಳ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಗಾರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರವರ ನೂತನ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಬಹುಮಹಡಿಯ ವಿಶಾಲ ಕೊಠಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಇದೀಗ ತೆರೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ ಬೈಪಾಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಗೊಂಡ ಅಂಚನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಸುವರ್ಣಾವಕಾಶ. ಕಾಂಜೀವರಂ, ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಆರ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ ಸಾರಿ, ಕಾಟನ್ ಸಾರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲೌಸ್ಗಳು. ಮದುವೆ ಸಂಭ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ, ಪುರುಷರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುವ ಸೂಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ವಾಣಿ, ಬಾಬಾ ಸೂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ನವನವೀನ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ಸ್, ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಾಂಪ್ರದಾಯಿಕ ಉಡುಪುಗಳ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ವಿವಿಧ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಫುಟ್ವೇರ್ಗಳು, ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ, ಟಾಯ್ಸ್, ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಐಟಂಗಳು ಒಂದೇ ಸೂರಿನಡಿ. ಇಂದೇ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗಾಗಿ ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯ. ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಬೈಪಾಸ್, ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ, ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ. ದೂರವಾಣಿ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 8904144840 ಅಥವಾ 9448984097.
ಬ್ರೇಕ್ನ ನಂತರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂದಿನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ನ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲೀಡರ್ಶಿಪ್. ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಲಿನಿ ಹೆಬ್ಬಾರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸೌರಭ್ ನವತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಂದಿನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸುವ ಮೊದಲು ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾಲರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ
ಸರ್. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
ನಾನು KJ ಪೈ ಅಂತ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಪೈ ಅವರೇ, ಹೇಳಿ.
ಸರ್, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗಿನ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಹುಡುಗರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕನ್ವರ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಹಾಯ್ ಬ್ರೋ, ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದೇ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಹೋದಾಗ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಪಾಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಮೇ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಆ ತರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ ಇಂದ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ದೋ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕೇಪಬಲ್, ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಇನ್ಫೀರಿಯರ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಡ್ವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ.
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಫಾರ್ ಬ್ರಿಂಗಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, and it is very thank you. Yes, we will go to the earlier one later. Now we'll answer this question.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಭಾಷೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುದು ಅದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಭಾಷೆ ಬದಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಈಗ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈಗ ಆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೌ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೈ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್. ಆದ ಕಾರಣ ಅವರು ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ಕಂಪನಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಡ್ರೆಸ್, ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಬೈ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೈಬ್ರೋ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇಯರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಅನ್ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ಲಿ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರೇ ಕೇರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ನಾವು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂಗೆ ಈಗ ಇದರ ಮೊದಲನ ಕಾಲರ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಈ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇರಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಭಾಷೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಅವರು ಕಂಪನಿಯನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ಕಂಪನಿ ಟು ವಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಲಿಟಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಇವೆ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನೈಸ್ಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇವೆ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗೆ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಹಾಗೆ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನೈಸ್ಡ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೀಗ ಇಳಿಯುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಕೂತ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗ್ತೇನೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಉದ್ದದ ಕಿವಿದ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಷ್ಟುದ್ದದ ಕಿವಿದ್ ಹಾಕಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳುವಂತದಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿ ವೇರ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕಂಫರ್ಟೇಬಲ್, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಂಡ್ ಅಪೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಿ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಭಾಷೆ ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ ಹಾಗೆ ಅವರು ಕೇರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈಗ ಆರ್ಡಿನರಿ ಆಗಿ ಹೈಬ್ರೋ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಂಥದ್ದೇ, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೇಡ ಹೇಳಬೇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ಶಬ್ದಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾಷೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಷೆಯಿಂದ ಶಬ್ದಗಳು ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೇವೆ. ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಇಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಕ್ಸ್ಫರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಕ್ಷನರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಬಂದಾಗಿದೆ, ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಡಿಕ್ಷನರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ನಾವು ನೀವು ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದಿರಿ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಔಟ್ಲುಕ್ ಇದ್ದಂಥವರು ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಲಿಟಿ, ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್. ಆದ ಕಾರಣ ಇದು ಅವರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ತಮ್ಮ ಭಾಷೆಯನ್ನು ಅವರು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಒಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್.
And like Malini ma'am spoke about, it's very important for the students or whoever a candidate is when he's going in for an interview to understand what the company is, what is it that they are looking for, and how is it that he needs to be culture of the company needs to be identified. But here at the same time, one thing that can help the candidates as well is, for example, if wherever they are studying right now, or an education institute they are studying, they can, before their interview sessions or season which comes in, the placement season which comes in, they can have these small sessions, training sessions which give an importance to what is the importance of dressing right, how is it that you need to conduct yourself, how is it that you need to put yourself across, the language that you need to use. So that plays a good role, that it gives them that confidence that okay, it just gives them a direction that this is how they need to, these are the points that they need to focus on, apart from obviously preparing for your interview and your job profile that you are applying for. Apart from that, in terms of dressing, as long as they are comfortable, that is enough. Because what the dressing mainly does is it gives you the confidence. That needs to show. If you are comfortable enough, that confidence will come. If you are not comfortable with what you are wearing, your thoughts will be in that itself.
You are concentrating more on that.
You are more be concentrating on comfortableness.
Exactly. Rather than your performance at the interview.
And so it's very important you can have mock interviews. Try to give mock interviews before your actual interview, so that you can give it even in front of a mirror.
Yes.
Right? If you, for example, the first basic question which generally is asked is to tell us about yourself. Right? Exactly. So that is some question where that can be a make or break question as well. Rather than just reading through your entire CV. I know. I was born here, I went to this school, I went to this. Rather than telling that, you can practice yourself and try to come up with the different version of putting your thoughts and points across.
And what is
so
the kind
preparation
of,
in that way is really very important.
What does the job expects you to do, that also brought
Yes.
into your introduction.
Exactly.
You can connect it with the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can be a technical job. If it is a technical job, they will focus their attention more on the technical side of things. If it's a management related position, or if it's a position where your communication is important, they will focus on your communication aspects of things. How is it that you're introducing yourself, your confidence and so on. So very important to know what role that you're sort of applying for and prepare accordingly. Preparation is the key.
Exactly.
In fact, they say 99% of the questions that are asked in an interview can be foreseen, and you can prepare yourself for that and go. But the thing is that not many candidates take that kind of preparation, and they just go with vague ideas. There might be a question, and I would. And as you said, that elevator pitch. When you are asked to introduce yourself, you must be ready with your elevator pitch. That is, within a minute, you should be able to bring out salient features of your personality. What's the point in saying I hail from such and such a place? That's all there on your resume. But what is your value system? What is your strength? What is it that you want in your life? What is it that you want to contribute to the company where you seek a job? Very often they make another mistake of talking about what is it they want from the company. But rather than what you can give. Your future employer is interested in knowing what you can give to the company. So that kind of preparation, as you said, educational institutions should come up with.
Yes, as I can also add one sentence that hi bro, and that is what the specific question was. And again, it depends on the kind of company or the organization where you go for. Like, if you for a corporate, for a company or an organization, you expect that the dress code is X. But if you look at some cultures, like for example Steve Jobs, he always used to, though he's at that position, he always used to wear a particular round collar t-shirt and a jeans. That's it, right? So it does make a difference, but at certain times, maybe at a particular level, it may not make much of a difference. But when you are getting in an interview, I think formal is still in vogue at least in India, right? At least in India. I am not going to talk about other countries, but I think we should imbibe that formal communication.
And it won't put you in a tight spot.
Exactly.
Even if they don't mind informal, they won't mind formal.
Exactly. Whereas otherwise dangerous. They expect you to be formal, and you suddenly say bro, and you lose your marks.
Play it safe.
Exactly. Communication. We spoke about.
If I could go to the question that he had taken up about different styles.
I was coming there.
I wanted. He used the word influence repeatedly, and he reminded me of Chendil Kumar, whom we had as an educationist. He spoke about influence without authority. That was a beautiful concept, a profound concept, a loaded concept, I must say. Because he says, if I say you must do it, that person might do it. But he will not do it to the best of his efficiency because he is being compelled to do it. But could you do it? Could we have it? And what would be the benefit for you as an individual when you do it? What is the benefit of it for me as your leader? So if you make it that kind of an approach of influencing without exercising your authority, that's the best approach, he said. And also, we are in a world full of anxiety, ambiguity, chaos, everything. VUCA world, Bani world, and all that we say. So there, I feel, in addition to all that you have said, you gave a very comprehensive answer, Saurabh. In addition to that, I would like to focus on what we call emergent leadership. Because there is not one leader style that is going to work out. Depending upon the situation, situational leadership, emergent leadership at this point of time. And the third point that I want to add on is Sundar Pichai's message. He says, reward efforts, not outcomes. Such a beautiful concept. A leader should never ever blame a person for his failure. Because failures are part and parcel of anything that we do in life. So that is a concept that I felt is worth being considered.
Correct. Thank you for the add-ons to the leadership styles. I think viewers are benefited out of this sharing of information, real life situations or examples. Moving on, because communication, listening, now the evaluation part, evaluation. It's basically to develop or improve further. Feedback. We just spoke in a passing reference to feedback.
Right.
Maybe on evaluation or how to make your presentation or speaking better. Can you just throw some light?
That is, we evaluate another person.
Exactly.
I think again we heavily rely upon Toastmasters
Yeah, I
style,
know.
and we talk about a sandwich style where we talk about their strengths and then give them suggestions for improvement, and then again give them a summation with strengths being pointed out. That's what we do in Toastmasters. But I would like also to draw the attention of the viewers to your own ability to receive feedback.
Correct.
You might give me a very constructive feedback, but am I prepared to take it from you? Very often we are not prepared for that. That is where I think we need to educate. As an educator, I would want to educate my students and say that they should be prepared for this constructive feedback. And evaluation is one tool that we use in Toastmasters, which our students or anyone else does not get anywhere else.
Correct.
That is why I feel it's a structured program, right? Toastmasters. It's not that you only speak.
Exactly.
You get evaluated.
Exactly.
But the final question
that is the speciality of the organization. Like nowhere else there is something
but
called
I have earned a few enemies because of the suggestions made. So that's why I
because
feel we should
the person is not able to take that as a feedback.
Take it.
So it's basically when you criticize, it's constructive, more of constructive criticism, not just for the sake of criticizing you do, but you should be able to receive it in the same way and work upon it.
I would put that on a higher scale than even giving a feedback.
Correct. How you receive it.
So that also comes from a fact. Like for example, we see that if a certain person he's confident about the way he speaks. Okay, he's heard a lot of accolades from his friends and family that you speak
he's
so
the best
well.
And
He's really good at speaking. He does so well. And when he sort of gets any kind of a feedback or criticism, constructive criticism with respect to how is it that they can improve, they feel that how is it that someone is saying me? Everyone says that I'm really good at it, I'm the best and all that. So having that mindset of constantly improving yourself, right? So for example, if someone wants to improve their public speaking, there are various forums through which they can improve the way they speak, right? It can be by participating in any of the competitions that they have in their schools, colleges, the debates, the elocutions and all of that, right? You might not, the first time everyone is going to be bad at it. Exactly. Everyone is going to make mistakes, everyone is going to have a setback. But then when you keep constantly learning, right, the improvement that you come across, and we have organizations like Toastmasters where you can speak, you can evaluate yourself, you get a constructive feedback on how is it that you can grow, you get a path through which you can improve on every aspect of your communication and so on. So these kind of organizations or these kind of forums help you enhance your communication, right? And it helps you come out of your sort of cultural boundaries as well, right? You will have a certain way of communicating which might be effective to a certain group of people, but others might not be able to resonate with you. So it gives you a broader perspective of how communication is, how is it that you can improve yourself and make yourself an effective and better speaker, is what I feel.
When you said you are the best speaker and he comes out and he doesn't do well and other things, I have a parallel for that, basically for CA student, being a CA I can talk about that. Because a person is the rank holder, the topper in the college, topper, but when he appears for CA, he fails. He or she fails and they are not able to receive that very effectively. They really shatter. So that I think we need to learn. I mean, how to handle failures. I mean, public speaking, exam, everywhere. How to handle failure is one of the major things we should learn.
Power of resilience.
Yes, power of resilience.
Just one thing about feedback.
Yeah.
I would like to add on and say that not every piece of feedback should be taken as gospel truth.
I know. Yes. You should use your
people who give you some feedback might not be
He wanted to give something and he gave. Yeah, you brought in something called culture, the culture also makes it. So there is a lot of cultural differences, like, maybe in India if you take cities and, suburban or villages, or maybe South India, North India, or from state to state, there are different cultures. Like as people say, every 20 kilometers the food changes, the taste and the food, the way you prepare changes, and every 20 kilometers the culture also changes or the language changes. So how culture affects the communication in any human being? Yeah,
I think culture plays a very important role, because you've sort of lived in a particular environment all your life. You've lived in a particular region or an environment all your life. You imbibe that kind of a culture. You know, we generally see that, okay, when we see a person itself, we can sort of recognize that he is from this particular state or this particular region.
Exactly.
And in case of India, we can say that he's from the northeast, or he's from the north, or he's from the south, or so on, by the way they speak. Okay, that one is heavily influenced by your accent.
Correct.
A lot of times. So if someone is from Kerala, they will have a particular accent which is very closely associated with Malayalam, for example.
Correct.
If it is someone who is from the northeast, they will have a different kind of English if they try to go speak English or Hindi or whichever language.
Correct.
That influence of your local language will be there.
Correct.
That's always going to be there. But when it comes to communication, there is no hard and fast rule that, okay, if you need to be a good communicator, you need to be good at English.
Correct.
Yeah, not that
was my next question.
Exactly. It's not at all necessary.
Correct.
Whichever language you are comfortable in, you can be a great communicator in that particular language. Right? It might not be understood by everyone, obviously.
Correct.
But that feeling that, okay, you need to know, or you need to be very good at a particular language to be able to be a good communicator, that is definitely not true. We have great speakers who are naturally, if you are comfortable and confident in your particular language, that will, go down into your, whenever you speak in another language as well, because that confidence is still going to be there. The skills are still going to be the same. It's just the mode of communication is going to be different, right? So at the same time, whenever you're speaking to a particular audience, you need to frame yourself accordingly. You need to change as per what is it that they like to hear or they want to listen to. But it should not be something that you should be really very worried of with respect to your own culture that you come from. Exactly. Right? So that is really key when it comes to communicating across cultures.
Correct. That's it. Malini.
I feel cultural sensitivity is important. As the adage goes, when in Rome, be a Roman.
Yeah, correct.
And we need to study people. We need to study their habits.
Correct.
And we should not do anything that would amount to unpleasantness for a person of that particular region.
Correct.
Now, when I visited my daughter, who was in Germany at that point of time, and whenever we commuted by their yes, she told me, Amma, you don't start smiling at children, you don't start petting them, because that's what we do in India, right? The minute we see a mother with a child, we start looking at the child and trying to play with the child. And we are that way very, we are different. So she said, if you do that, it will not be taken kindly. So don't, because they take it as interference. So communication is, for me, the key factor is sensitivity.
Correct.
See what works, see what doesn't work, and follow the dictum.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Thank you. I think we are almost on coming to end of time. Maybe another 2 minutes to go. Before I say thank you, I want each one of you to maybe summarize maybe whatever we spoke, or maybe we want to give some takeaways for the people who are watching the show. Shall I ask?
Yes, one of the questions that I think Ram Rao asked was about communication for a teacher, something of that kind.
Correct.
So what I feel is that all of us, teachers and others, whichever is the profession,
correct.
We forget that communication skills are necessary even in our day-to-day existence.
Exactly.
So it is a skill, so it can be developed, it can be practiced and perfected.
Correct.
But we take that for granted.
Exactly.
As a teacher, I feel, okay, I have my subject knowledge, I can do well in my class because
I am an expert in that topic, so I am the boss.
But then it should be enhanced with communication skills.
Yeah, Saurabh, what's your summarization maybe?
So basically, like we spoke about today in terms of leadership, how important is communication for leadership, right? You need to be a good communicator, and that will naturally make your way towards your path of leadership much more easier. Because you are able to put your point across, you are able to put your vision across, and you are able to get your team together and motivate them and keep them motivated. So while communication is very important for you as a leader, even in your day-to-day lives, the communication plays a very significant role, right? We often tend to not pay too much attention on the communication part of things in our day-to-day lives. But even if, for example, we are communicating to anyone in our day-to-day lives, how we put it across is very, very important, right? Even if you are speaking to someone, you will be speaking to someone who's a housemaid, right? If you speak in a certain tone, you can get the work done so much easier, right? Because you're understanding what they are going through and what is it that their point of view is. So understanding your audience is very important when it comes to communication. How is it that you are gauging your communication based on that? How is the culture that makes a difference when you're communicating to each other? And how is it that you can keep having that mindset of accepting feedback for enhancing your communication? So that is something that we wanted to sort of spoke about, and I think we covered a lot of points on that. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
for
let me take the pleasure of thanking both of you because you spared about 90 minutes of your time or plus maybe additional time to prepare for this. Thank you very much for spending a Sunday morning with us. Thank you, Dr. Malini Hebbar and Saurabh Mehta being with us at this show. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇಂದಿನ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಬಂತು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದರ ಉಪಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಪಡಿತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತ ನೆನೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ again repeating what we said, language is just a medium through which you communicate. English ಇರಲಿ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಇರಲಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವುದೇ ಭಾಷೆ ಇರಲಿ, ನೀವು ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್, ನೀವು ಏನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಪಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಆ ಯಾವ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಚ್ಛೆ ಪಡ್ತೀರಾ ಆ ಬೇಸಿಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದರ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮಚ್ ಬೆಟರ್. With that, we come to this at the end of this episode on communication and leadership. This will be re-telecast on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. on Namma Kudla, with a lot of thanks to our resource persons today, and thank you all the audience viewers. Thank you. Thank you.
Indira Hospital celebrates its 25th jubilee. The institution looks to the future with hope and determination. Plans for expansion and the integration of even more advanced technologies are set to ensure the continued provision of the highest